Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to be looking at a short story collection by Joseph Delaney called A Coven of Witches. So this is an addition to the Last Apprentice series. So this is an addition to, you don't have to read it with the, if you're reading the entire series. It's recommended that you do, in fact, read the series to a point. Otherwise, you won't understand these short stories. Otherwise, why on earth would you be reading these? But these are connected to these stories. So you have the first collection of chapters are about Meg Skelton. So this is the Lima witch that John Gregory falls in love with, and that Tom meets up, who's been locked up, and she's like put to sleep, and you have to give her the special tea, and eventually gets pissed off because she's been trapped here for many, many years. But this tells the story of how John finds her and rescues her from this ape-human thing that he doesn't end up killing. He ends up chasing off. Doesn't realize she's a witch. Realizes she's a witch. His master is dead. His master has just died when he's doing this. When he finds her. So he brings her back, buries his master, so this is the very beginning of his own life as a spook. So again, Tom is his last apprentice. So yeah, he has Meg locked up for a long, long, long time. This is before he takes on any of his own apprentices. But he's gonna put her in a pit. He doesn't because he's in love with her, but she causes trouble down in the village because she's gorgeous, and that's kind of what they do. To escape, he takes her up to his master's other home, away from Chippenham, up in the, I think, Azarks. I can never pronounce that properly. And they live together, but again, she starts causing more problems. And then eventually he realizes she brings her sister there, who's a feral Lima. Her sister does begin to become more social, but her sister escapes. First kills a sheep and then nearly kills a kid. So yeah, they have to, because they've been locking her in the attic. And so this is when he originally decides to lock her behind the iron gate in the basement. She's not trapped. Her sister can go see her. But then Meg causes problems of her own down again in the village. So he gives her the specialty to put her asleep, and then he locks up her sister down in the basement, who eventually will revert to being a feral Lima as she is in the story. So that is that tale. So you get the whole details of what he did there. And so you get the backstory of Meg before, again, you have the story that you find out about in the regular series. So then the next one is a kind of an interesting tale. It's kind of a look at the witch's history. So this is Dirty Dora. So it talks about her life in the beginning when she was a live witch, because she's a dead witch when she's telling this tale. And how you find out that she was part of the witches who were summoning the fiend when what you now know as the Grimalkin, the witch assassin, basically stabs him. Again, he seduced her, raped her, and killed their child. So you understand why the Grimalkin wants him to go away. But again, you don't really know it's the Grimalkin. She doesn't know who this is. But how she dies is she's summoned, she goes to basically steal from a farmer. He's summoned these witch hunters. She's eventually arrested because she's ambushed and first dunked, and then, trying to think, they hang her, and she's hung. So, her family, of course, comes in, gets her body, buries her in the dell, which is where she's at. She's now a dead witch. She's strong enough that she goes in and is able to threaten the farmer, gets him to bring the men who killed her back, on the threat of killing his wife and daughters. What she does end up doing is she has some sort of sense of honor. While interacting with the small child, one of the daughters, she sends the wife and the girl, like, leave, don't come back, just go away. And they do. Like, get your mother and just get out of here, which they do. And then he, of course, the farmer comes back brings who he's supposed to. She kills everybody. I think she saves the farmer. She doesn't kill him. And just like when a witch comes, just do what she asks and don't get her killed. So that's kind of an interesting tale. Then you have a story of Alice. So you get her story of how she ended up with Bonnie Lizzie and her relationship with her. So you have Alice and the Brain Guzzlers. This is the bulk. This is one of the longer of the groups. The previous two had about 3 chapters. This one has 5. And so it goes through who she is, her parents' deaths. She's dragged to be an apprentice by Bonnie Lizzie. Bonnie Lizzie has this evil creature that it's her familiar who Alice gets irritated with and threatens, and he threatens her back. And she finds out from Bonnie Lizzie sending her to the Dell to get something from this old dead witch that this creature, she's basically sent her to get, I think, brain plugs that are soaked in apple juice, which is what this thing wants. And she's kind of given some information on how to kill it because it's now threatened her because it keeps jumping in the soup that she's making and she's insulting it. And it lives inside, whether it's a grandmother's or something, another old non-witch's head. Basically, the woman was going crazy. She was useless. So he got into her head and ate her brains and now uses her body. So that's, yes, dead and still, still aging. No, it doesn't explain this again, magic. So moving on, Alice's aunt Lizzie, who again, if you read the book series, spoilers here, I think is her mother, biological mother, but moving on. Basically Lizzie leaves. It's like, you have to survive. And Alice has to figure out how to kill him, and she uses salt and eventually locks inside this granny person's head, which is filled with salt, and kills it. So that is her tale. And then Lizzie actually ends up thanking her because the familiar was getting too strong. And eventually she's like, that's how I'm going to survive. I'm not going to kill children. I'm not going to take their bones. I'm just going to figure out how to survive. So, and that is Alice's tale. And then the next tale you have is from Tom Ward himself. So this is the Banshee. So this is when he's during his time period with Bill Altright before he goes back to Tom. So this is after Altright's parents have been sent on, so he's not drinking anymore. So this is how you find out that he's Altright is cursed, and how he becomes cursed by the Celtic Witch and the Morgan, which again they run, and how Tom gets in trouble with this goddess. So Altright, of course, dies in Greece, and it's mentioned in this book. So you have to get that far into the book series to understand this. But it tells how they're summoned by this landowner, and they think it's a banshee. They're Irish. Husband's dying. Tom realizes it's a witch, ends up in one of the burial mounds and tricks the witch to get them out and kills her, which is how he's cursed, and why the Morgan is pissed off at him. It's like, do not come to Ireland. And again, you have the whole mess of what happens when they go to Ireland. A whole other book. Already covered that. But that's pretty much the end of this. It gives you a few excerpts from The Rise of the Huntress. So that's right before they go to, I think, Ireland. So that's where this book is situated if you want to read this addition in the series. So it is before The Last Apprentice, which is The Rise of the Huntress, which I think is book 9. Do not count me on that. This is being filmed on April 4th of 2022. I completely finished the series, I believe, before December of 2021 is when I did the entire series. So that is completely ending. This is my tablet, so this is what I'm looking after. I just finished rereading. This is actually a reshoot. I lost the file where I originally did this. So, but again, that's this. So at the end of this, unfortunately, when I was digging around in my library, there is actually a second book of short stories called The Spooks Tale. And I will review that, and that will premiere same day as this, just because I'm not going to go messing around with my scheduling because it's completely done for 2022. So these are some of the last videos I am filming for 2022, if you want to know where my timing is on this. So that is it for this video. Be sure to check out the rest of the channel. Again, I covered the entire Last Apprentice series by Joseph Delaney, 1 through I think 13. Pretty much everything, the entire book series has been edited. I've also covered, and the next thing you'll see, the very last, which I've already filmed from this, another ebook, which is the Spooks Bestiary. So that's the other insert. That was actually very interesting. So that will be coming up next Monday, if you're watching these in order as they come out. So that will be the last of the books of the Spooks, Last Apprentice, Joseph Delaney. I'm probably not going to touch this author for a very, very long time because I don't do horror. But I will, again, the next video that will come out directly after this, I will just have them premiere the same day, is going to be the Spooks Tale, which is another collection of short stories. So that will probably be shot in the next day or two once I read through what I have on my tablet now. So, and then of course you'll see you'll deal with the Spooks Bestiary on Monday. Sure check out the rest of the channel. I don't normally cover horror. This was a finish of something that I picked up back when I was a library page over a decade ago. Back when I was an undergrad in my 20s, which again was over a decade ago. And in fact, close to 2 decades ago, considering I just had a birthday yesterday. Yes, I'm in my late 30s. I don't know my aging. I'm in my late 30s, which is a frightening thing to think about right now. But be sure to check out the rest of the channel. I do individual books. I do a lot of fantasy series. There's a whole bunch of fantasy series coming in 2023 that I've filmed. The next major book series I'm covering, which is a reaction to this, is The Princess Diaries. So massively dark to absolute utter fluff. Thoroughly admit, The Princess Diaries is absolute utter fluff. And then I'm doing more Tamora Pierce. I've already covered her Circle of Magic series, as well as the Circle of Opens and the Will of the Empress, so you can check those out. The Linus Quartet as well as the Immortals Quartet are coming up later in 2023. So those are coming, followed by the Guardians of Ga'Hoole. So that is, and most of those have been shot already. So I believe the Guardians of Ga'Hoole, as well as all the Princess Diaries and the Tamora Pierce books. The Tamora Pierce stuff I own. So those are actually already shot by now and done, along with some stuff for 2023. But be sure to check out the rest of the channel. I do have some right now going on Thanksgiving stuff, so Native American fiction, a whole big film series on Native Americans going on right now, because I believe this should be November. This should be coming out in November. It's not the top of my head. Along with some secular Christmas stuff. And hopefully there's more travel videos. By the time you guys see this, we will be adding more education stuff. By the time you see this, my daughter will be closing in on 3.5. So we will be adding more secular education stuff as we go along. So again, be sure to check out the channel, like and subscribe, leave a positive comment if you have one. And that is it. Thank you.